Minneapolis, and Vince has been in front of the United States Supreme Court twice, and he looked at the problem we had and he says, this is doable, I'll take it on. The first letter that Vince wrote cost $5,000 to the commission. They kind of really didn't do a whole lot about it, so then he wrote them the second letter, and then 10 days later I've got inch and 3/8 packet of a lawsuit. We're going to go to court with the county. So June 24th we went to court, and there were people from Plymouth County, Lyon County, Sioux County, Yankton County, a lot of important people were curious what was going to happen. And Mike Poppins and Jim Schmidt were no place to be seen in the courtroom because they're the ones that pushed this deal so hard. And we destroyed them in court. We had Mike Schaefer came in underneath his law license of South Dakota, and Vince Fallander pleaded the case. Mike did the closing. They did a fantastic job. And as Joel Ahrens said, Lincoln County got destroyed that day in court. So help me, what else would you like to have me say?
Well, I think what folks are curious about, David, is if this was if time was of the essence, and if a jail was so desperately needed, and if it needed to be done now and it couldn't be put on the ballot on November, I mean, do you know why it couldn't have just been done the right way the first time? You know, for example, there were no public meetings held before the vote. Why didn't we schedule the public meetings first? And then, why didn't we have public meetings first before the vote to consider where the location was going to be? I asked for a request for proposal to go out for people around the county who owned land to submit proposals to the county for pieces of land that they wanted to offer up to us. That was denied. They turned that down. It seemed as if they had already picked out the location ahead of time and really didn't want to take any input from anybody. And that's unfortunate, because then people feel upset and they feel like they're not a part of their government. And then there's not enough buy-in, and then you see big fights and arguments like this. If you would just do it right from the first place and take the input, maybe you would have figured all these problems out ahead of time. You could have saved the county from an expensive lawsuit. You wouldn't have got all these communities fighting against these efforts because you would have had the input on the front end. And I think that's just the way we should treat our neighbors in South Dakota and in Lincoln County. Shouldn't just shove anything down their throat. We should give them an opportunity to speak first. And in this case, they didn't give a guy like David the opportunity to speak first. They just filed a lawsuit against him.
Costly. That's all I can say. It's costly, but I won. I'm gonna.
Total cost?
Pardon?
What is your total cost that you have expended out of your pocket?
Oh, about 60,000, maybe more, maybe up towards 70.